My name is Colin Marengwa. I am a sweet potato farmer based in Nyabira. I've been growing sweet potatoes for the past 10 years, and I started growing sweet potatoes after hearing about sweet potato production from WhatsApp groups and also my neighbors. If you check along the Lomagundi Highway, the Harare Chinoi Highway, you find sweet potatoes being sold along the highway from Westgate to Gwebi River. So those vendors are the biggest market for the sweet potato producers in Nyabira. So it was one of the drivers which made me venture into this production, because I saw a sweet potato having a ready market. Instead of looking for a market, there was ready market as the vendors would come to buy straight from the fields. And also they offer better prices than the prices offered at Mbare Musika. Because when they harvest or when they collect the sweet potatoes from the fields, they pack them in crates. And those sweet potatoes are not bruised, unlike the sweet potatoes that they get from Mbare, which come from as far as Chipinge in sacks. So they prefer buying straight from the fields. So I'm going to take you through how I produce my sweet potatoes. I do a number of varieties, from white-fleshed varieties, orange-fleshed, and purple-fleshed varieties. But for the white-fleshed varieties, those are the common varieties. The orange-fleshed varieties are for a niche market. And the white-fleshed varieties are normally used, they are boiled and consumed with tea. But for the orange-fleshed varieties, they are for a niche market, and they are used to make chips. They can be used to make puddings. They can be baked. A number of things can be used with orange-fleshed. And I also use them to make sweet potato flour. I just wash them, slice them, dry them, then I grind them. And the flour is very healthy because it is gluten-free. So in my production, a hectare of sweet potatoes has got a plant population of between 30,000 and 40,000 plants, depending on spacing. But normally my ridges are spaced approximately 1 meter apart, and from plant to plant, I normally use 30 centimeters, and that gives me a plant population of around 33,000 plants per hectare. And before, I used to use compound C, and the rate of application was 300 kgs per hectare. But since the time I got introduced to Humison products, I've managed to cut the cost of production by nearly or more than half. Because before, when I was using 300 kgs of basal fertilizer, but now I've reduced the basal fertilizer from 300 kgs to 150 kgs of compound C. And now I use 150 kgs of compound C and the carboamine. So the carboamine, I spray it, and it helps my plants in utilizing, or it improves the uptake of the inorganic fertilizers that I would have applied. So these are Humison products. I've seen them to be very effective and pocket friendly, as they have managed to reduce my cost of production. So at planting, I use carboamine and compound C. Now I'm using 150 kgs. And 3 weeks after my plants have been planted, I come in with a top dressing of Humison Grow Plus. I apply 1 liter per hectare. I normally mix the liter with between 200 liters to 300 liters, and I apply that per hectare. And before, when I was using ammonium nitrate, I used to use between 150 kgs to 200 kgs of ammonium nitrate. And considering the cost of ammonium nitrate, I was buying a bag of ammonium nitrate at $35, and for a hectare, I would use $140 for top dressing. But since the switch from using synthetic fertilizers to using Humison Grow Plus, I have cut the cost because I buy Humison Grow Plus at $25 a liter, and I only top dress twice with Humison Grow Plus, and I just top dress with an interval of 3 to 4 weeks. So I buy my liter, I apply per hectare, that's $25. Then I repeat after 3 to 4 weeks, that's another $25, which is only $50 to top dress a hectare. Unlike before when I was using $140. So these biostimulants, I've also seen that they improve the soil health. They also feed the microorganisms in the soil. So I've seen a lot of benefits from these products. And I also highly recommend these products to other farmers, especially in these trying times when we've got this challenge of climate change. And I think for farmers to make better profits, it's very important that we incorporate these organic products. Also the health benefits, because I've seen most of my clients, I've got lots of repeat buyers because they say my sweet potatoes are tastier than sweet potatoes from other farmers. And I've seen this recommendation since switching from synthetic fertilizers. That is, now I'm using almost half synthetic and half organic. So they say my sweet potatoes have got a good taste and also they've got a better shelf life. So I think these products are a game changer to farmers. In land preparation, I use an oxydrone plow for the land preparation. I till my land first, then I come back with the oxydrone plow for ridging. And the way I make my ridges is when I go once, then when I will be coming back, I will be having somebody in front of the oxydrone plow who will be applying my synthetic fertilizer. So now that I'm using 150 kgs per hectare, on average I have 100 lines, 100 ridges per hectare. So from my 150 kgs, I use 1.5 kgs per line. So now with a trained hand, I can evenly apply 1.5 kgs per 100 meter ridge. That's how I apply my basal. So when I come back with my plow, it will be covering the fertilizer. So when we plant on top of the ridges, and the fertilizer is already mixed with the soil. And I plant at 30 centimeter spacing. That's my inner row spacing. After planting, I also do a routine scouting of my crop. The moment I see pests, I come in with some pesticides. But normally I come in with pesticides after I've seen that the attack has reached a threshold level, whereby I see that now if I leave my crop being attacked like this, I'm going to make a loss. The normal pest that I see in sweet potato, there is a green worm which eats the leaves. That worm, we use carbaryl or dimethylate. Even malathion also kills that worm. But it's not a very big problem. And the biggest problem in sweet potato production is the sweet potato weevil. And on the sweet potato weevil, I use a number of methods. And the first method is a cultural method, whereby I rotate my fields. I don't plant sweet potato on the same field year in, year out. I rotate my fields, and I will come back to the same field after 5 years. So that way I've managed to minimize infestation of sweet potato weevil. But the moment, and the other thing that I've noticed is the sweet potato weevil is not a problem when the soil is moist. So normally for the early harvested crop, it's not damaged or affected by sweet potato weevil. But that crop which we will harvest when it's dry, say after May, that's when normally we come in with sprays. We come in with sprays of chlorpyrifos or lambda. And I've seen that for these pesticides to work effectively, you have to apply them when the soil is moist, especially lambda. Because what the sweet potato weevil does is it lays eggs inside the stem, normally at the position where the stem attaches to the ground. And when those the eggs hatch, they hatch into some larvae which will start eating, going downwards into the tubers. So when you spray when the soil is moist, the sweet potato weevil won't lay eggs in the crop, especially if you apply some systemic pesticides. So for sweet potato weevil, I apply chlorpyrifos and lambda, and these have worked effectively in controlling sweet potato weevil. I have also noticed that using vines which are disease-free is very important. So also the source of the vines is very important. So I recommend farmers to get their planting material from registered breeders. Like for me, normally I get my vines from biotech laboratories. Because the other biggest problem of sweet potato is the sweet potato virus. When a sweet potato is attacked by sweet potato virus, you see the plants are stunted, the color also changes to a yellowish color. So that problem is mainly aggravated by the continuous recycling of planting material. So what I do is after 2-3 seasons, I go back to laboratories, biotech laboratories, I get my disease-free vines. And what I normally do is I get my vines in time, then I do my nursery. And on nursery production, I do my nursery in a bed, say 25 meters by 1 meter, and the spacing between my plants will be 1 meter from plant to plant, and between rows I use 20 centimeters. So on a bed which is 25 meters, I normally have between 1,000 and 1,500 plants. And it's very important to start managing pests and diseases from the nursery so that you don't transfer them from the nursery to the field. On sweet potato production, we've got a number of varieties. Some are early maturing and others take long to mature. We've got some varieties which mature early, like German 2. It matures in 90 days. And also Berugad. It also matures in 90 days. And these varieties, if you leave them for more than 90 days, you have a very big tubers. And also the other thing that also makes you decide the time to take to harvest is the target market. Like for Berugad or German 2, we've got some buyers who want small and medium sizes. And for Berugad, I've got some buyers who want very big tubers because they make chips, they boil them, they grate them and smash them and make puddings. And we have other varieties which are long season varieties, like Chingova. It takes about 140 to 150 days to mature. But after those days, you can even leave it in the ground and it will remain okay if you manage your pests and diseases correctly. So for time to maturity depends on variety. And sweet potatoes can be grown all year round if you are in frost-free areas. But in my area in Nyabira, region 2, because we experience severe frost from June to around August. So we plant our sweet potatoes. For rain-fed, we plant in mid-November. And for the irrigated crop, we plant it soon after the frost fears, from around September. That's when we plant our sweet potatoes. And if you check at the moment along Loma-Gundi highway, you can see sweet potatoes being sold by the highway vendors there. So it's an all year round crop in frost-free areas. And for the yield, the target yield under good agronomic practices is around 2,000 buckets per hectare for high-yielding varieties like Berugad. For Berugard, you can easily get 20 buckets per 100-meter ridge. But for other varieties, like Chingova, you can get 10 buckets of marketable tubers. Then the other 10 buckets will be smaller. So depending on your market, like for me, I normally have my buyers who buy in bulk. They get the bigger tubers. Then the smaller tubers, I take them to high density suburbs. I sell in small dishes for $1. And I push everything. Nothing is thrown away. And those ones which have injuries or those which are bruised, we clean them, we cut them, we dry them, and we do value addition. I make a sweet potato flour. And I have plans to venture into silage making. So my plan is in the future, I am planning to do a bigger hectarage. I am planning, maybe starting from next year, I will be doing 5 hectares of sweet potato, but my main target is to make a silage, because I want to increase my project on sheep production. So I will have silage to feed my sheep as well as my cattle. So sweet potato have got a lots of uses. Everything on sweet potato is of value. From the leaves, the tubers, they can be used in different forms to feed humans, to feed livestock. So, fellow farmers, I encourage you to venture into this crop, as it is a low input crop, especially if you incorporate the biostimulants. These are organic fertilizers. If you incorporate organic fertilizers, it will bring your cost of production to half. So that means more dollars in the pocket of the farmer, as well as improving the microbial activity in your soil. So it's also good for your soil health, because you remember, we are not going to have new soil. We have to leave this soil in a healthy state for our kids. So we have to look after this soil effectively, so that it will look after generations to come also effectively.